Big Alias, and let's disagree. Let's do it, dude. Let's disagree with the internet. It's like my speciality, sir. The internet, disagreeing with it. It's my speciality. It's my speciality. The award for the least convincing Star Wars quote goes to me today. But yes, we're not talking about Star Wars today. We're talking about something quite possibly even nerdier. We're talking about Halo Season 2. It's finished. It's dropped. It's done. It's wrapped. And I just watched the final episode of Season 2. Very excited about it, and I really want to talk about it. So, I very incredulously watched Season 1. I watched it through a very cynical lens, like, I don't like that, and I don't like that, and I'm not a fan of that. Very up and down. There were occasional moments I thought were cool, but aside from that, I wouldn't say I was a huge fan of Season 1. So going into Season 2, I was kind of like, okay, you know what, I'll give it a go. But if it's just as bad as Season 1, I don't know how much more I can take. But I'll give it a go, and see how it is. And then I did watch the first 2 episodes, and I made a video a couple of months back, and I said that it seemed actually as though things were on the up, and I thought the show was showing a lot of promise, and as though it was leading up to something bigger. And unfortunately, I was absolutely spot on. I was completely right, and now I have to brag about it, which is... why? Why must I do this? I'll tell you why, because I really want to. Yes, this is great. I had a fantastic time with this show. This Season 2 of Halo, fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. And I had a really good time with it. I was right with my initial assessment that I think that it was going to build to something more interesting. The show got more and more interesting as things went along. Now, I will say, the biggest issue with the show is inconsistency, kind of a la Season 1, but to a far lesser extent. But yeah, it is inconsistency. The show does dip a lot. It gets very slow. And I will say that if you didn't like Season 1 and you're someone who's quite... how do I say it? Like, not impatient, but someone who wants something to be happening all times, I actually wouldn't recommend coming back to this, because a lot of the issues from Season 1 do persist. Master Chief is still throwing that helmet off, with gay abandon. But that was always going to happen. I mean, you don't, hire this actor for all of this money just for them to not be showing their face. And plus, every time he has his helmet on, it's a high budget situation, and there's no way they're going to be able to afford 10 episodes of constant action. So 8 episodes, I think it was 8 episodes of constant action. That was just never going to happen. So he has to take the helmet off. I do get it. But if that's enough to put you off, then honestly, I don't know if Season 2 is for you. If you were fine with that in Season 1, but you thought that maybe like they shit the bed every now and then, and it wasn't interesting enough, and they weren't really going in the direction that you wanted them to, then yeah, I would definitely recommend coming back, because this just feels a lot more cohesive. It feels like a better overall package. Like the quality is so much better here, and I don't just mean like better CGI or better set pieces or anything like that. I just feel as though the whole thing is like sealed together so much more tidily. It's so much neater. The pacing is far better here. The writing is better. I even think the performances are better here, and a lot of the storytelling is better. I will say that I think a couple of things were rushed, and a couple of other things were extended a little bit too much. I should warn you now, there are going to be spoilers. I probably should have warned you at the start of the video, but I didn't give any spoilers previously. So this is the section where we enter into spoilers. I think that Soren's hunt for Kessler was dragged out a little bit too much, and I think Halsey's fake interviewee room, back and forth with a character, I don't think that was delved into enough, and I really don't think it was interesting enough. I do think I wasn't expecting the death of a couple of characters, but I guess, Keyes was always going to die. He dies in Halo 1. That was always going to be the case. He died a little bit sooner in this show, but it was a badass death, and I do not have an issue with that at all. And the whole episode, Reach was just phenomenal. I absolutely loved Reach. I thought that was a fantastic episode. Balls to the wall action from start to finish. I think they absolutely did the fall of Reach justice. Maybe would have liked to have seen a little bit more of an arc surrounding Reach, but that would be my only note. The actual invasion of Reach was really well dealt with, and it reflects. People absolutely love that episode. And they had balls. They had the balls to kill off a few characters there too. And then, of course, there's a little bit of a dip as they build up to the finale, but I think the episodes where he comes in and invades Oni, sorry, were absolutely fantastic. I like the fact that they're delving into how like questionable and potentially evil Oni are in all of this, and how they're good intentions. They have good intentions, but it's just the execution is so morally ambiguous and can't really get a grip on whether they're doing the right thing or not. Although I will say that they kind of pulled that away a little bit with the flood stuff introduced at the end. Yes, we get the flood. The flood are gonna be in the show. I mean, I guess they were always destined to be. They're one of the core pillars of the show. But oh my god, so excited about that. So excited to finally see the flood again. And they're really building up to that well. I will say I'm not a huge fan of the introduction of the flood. I think it was done perfectly in CE. I would have liked to have seen something a bit more like that. This felt, kind of Halo 4-ish with the laboratory folk walking around and then it slowly infecting everyone. Though it was very cool and they were quite brutal with it. I don't know where he got that gun from, though. That was very confusing to me. But the whole final episode is just spectacular. I mean, really, really fantastic. The space battles looked amazing, which is rare for the showrunners of The Expanse. They must have been given a real budget. Just absolutely fantastically executed. Full balls to the wall action the whole way. And when he landed on the ring, I adore the presentation of that. They could have fumbled it easily, but they absolutely nailed the presentation of the ring. It reminded me a lot of the second to last mission in Halo 2, the aesthetic, if you know what I'm talking about, with the spies and stuff like that. But it was really, really well done. Now, I have already seen on IMDb a comment or two talking about Arbiter dying at the end of the episode, or like, is he dead or is he not? Now, yes, John does kill the Arbiter, but I think a lot of people don't understand the lore of Halo. The Arbiter is a title, it's not a person, and they refresh the Arbiter in Halo 2. We're not up to the timeline of the Halo 2 yet, we're still just encroaching on Halo 1. We've just introduced the Flood, we are about... I don't know, because there's sort of two things going on that happen at different times in the game. We're on Halo, we've landed on the Halo ring for the first time, so we're on mission 2, but we also have the introduction of the Flood. But then again, the Flood haven't made it to the Chief yet, so actually there still is a chance for the Chief to encounter the Flood. I'm just, as I go along, in the same way that he did in the game. So currently we're on like mission 2 of Halo 2, of Halo 1, sorry. In Halo 2, we get the introduction of the Arbiter. So all could change and we could get another Arbiter, and I can't see why we wouldn't. I think that'll make absolute sense. Badass fight though, really awesome fight, way better than anything from season 1. And this, I had a really good time. It's just a great season of TV. I looked forward to every episode. They kept my attention going the whole way. I didn't want this episode to end, this last episode. It was really, really fantastic, and I think they've done the story justice. And I said that as one of the biggest Halo fans you'll ever meet. I really enjoyed this show, and I think it's amazing. I do. I'm sorry. I think it's really great, and I'll see everyone later.
The PlayStation's only $149, and you can also get leading titles.